Look at the top of the global streaming charts right now, and you'll find COQUETA, an infectious song about flirting, pulling in hundreds of millions of plays. It's a massive hit driven by two groups that found a way to bridge the gap between small-town weddings and global dominance. To understand how they did it, you have to look at the historical problem with traditional Mexican music. For decades, it was hyper-regional, and the lyrics relied on older tropes, like waiting by a landline telephone for a call that might never come. That kind of analog storytelling misses the mark with a teenager whose entire social life exists on a smartphone. The modern listener was totally disconnected from these older themes. A question emerged. What happens if you construct a modern pop song, but you play it using heavy, traditional instruments like the sousaphone? This chart plots out traditional audience growth, and you can see exactly where it hits a hard plateau. For years, the music industry assumed that traditional norteño music had reached a limit. They thought the audience simply couldn't expand any further. But a massive audience was hungry for a sound they recognized, paired with stories they actually lived. That gap between old sounds and new listeners created a vacuum, one that was about to be filled very quickly. The shift began with a specific update to the storytelling. Instead of writing about handwritten letters and payphones, these musicians started using the language of modern digital life, Instagram DMs and cell phones dying at 1%. Two specific musical groups drove this change. You have Grupo Frontera out of Texas, making their mark on the red carpet, and Fuerza Regida out of California. They took century-old musical styles and injected them with modern anxieties. They sang about the stress of digital communication and navigating toxic relationships. By swapping out the vocabulary while keeping the underlying instruments the same, they made a traditional genre feel instantly authentic to teenagers. To see how this works in practice, look at their hit collaboration, COQUETA. It serves as a study in how to fuse opposing regional sounds. On one side of the equation, you have the heavy, gritty sousaphone and acoustic guitar, native to California's corridos tumbados, a raw, street-level style anchored by artists like Jesus Ortiz Paz of Fuerza Regida. On the other side, you have the upbeat folk rhythm of Texas cumbia. This diagram shows two distinct sound waves, CA grit and TX folk. COQUETA slams these previously isolated styles together into a single, polished pop structure. Musicians used to stay strictly within their local scenes. This specific fusion broke the geographical boundaries that kept Mexican subgenres separated for decades. With the formula dialed in, it only took one secret industry maneuver to push this sound global. And it involved Bad Bunny, one of the biggest pop stars on Earth. Without Grupo Frontera's knowledge, a producer passed one of their unreleased tracks directly to Bad Bunny's team. The band was completely in the dark. They had no idea a collaboration was in the works until almost the exact moment the song was ready to drop. Looking at this chart of streaming volume, you can see exactly when the track 1% was released. It moved the band from playing local weddings in Texas to dominating the global charts overnight. While a verse from a massive star helps, the sustained numbers showed that the underlying musical formula was infectious across all demographics. What does this shift look like on the global streaming playlists? Major record labels and streaming platforms have dropped the restrictive regional Mexican category. Instead, they've adopted a broader label, Música Mexicana. The collaboration project Mala Mia by Fuerza Regida and Grupo Frontera is the clearest evidence of how much has changed. The project shows that artists no longer have to choose a single regional lane. They can mix traditional grit and folk rhythms with a glossy pop finish. That mix has earned validation at the highest levels of the industry, bringing home major awards and filling arenas worldwide. Traditional Mexican music has reclaimed its global status once it began speaking the language of its youngest listeners.